Imagine standing beside the man you loved, dressed in your best gown, surrounded by hundreds of guests celebrating your anniversary when suddenly, he takes the microphone and humiliates you in front of everyone. He calls you a burden, mocks your worth, and announces he's leaving you for another woman. The crowd gasps, the cameras flash, and your heart shatters. But what he doesn't know is that every company he built, every car he drives, every coin in his account belongs to you. Because the woman he just tried to destroy secretly owns everything he has. This is the story of how a husband humiliated his wife at their anniversary party, only to discover she owned his entire company. The night was supposed to be a celebration, Clara Benson's and Michael Benson's 7th wedding anniversary. The grand ballroom of the Silver Crest Hotel glittered like a scene from a royal fairy tale. Golden chandeliers hung from the ceiling, champagne glasses clinked, and everyone smiled at the perfect couple who had built an empire together, Benson Innovations, a company worth millions. To the world, Michael and Clara were a power couple, smart, successful, and unbreakable. But behind Clara's gentle smile was a heart breaking slowly, piece by piece. For months, she had felt Michael slipping away, coming home late, avoiding conversations, acting cold and distant. She told herself it was just stress from work. That the man who once looked at her like she was his world could never betray her. But she was wrong. As the clock struck 8, the hotel lights dimmed slightly, and the host invited Michael to the stage to give a speech. The guests applauded loudly. Clara sat at their table, her hands clasped together, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling twisting in her stomach. Michael adjusted his tie, flashed his charming smile, and began. Good evening, everyone. Tonight marks 7 years of marriage, 7 years of partnership with the woman who stood by me through it all. The crowd clapped, and Clara smiled faintly, though her heart thumped nervously. Michael continued, when we started Benson Innovations, we had nothing. Just a dream. But today we've built something incredible. And for that, I'll always be grateful to my wife. Clara's eyes softened for a moment. Maybe she had been overthinking. Maybe he was going to surprise her with something beautiful. But then his tone changed. However, he said, pausing dramatically, as much as I appreciate Clara, I believe in honesty. And the truth is, our marriage hasn't been what it looks like. The room went silent. Clara's smile slowly faded. The guests exchanged awkward glances. Michael looked around the room, pretending to look emotional. Sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes love fades. And sometimes, pretending becomes too exhausting. He sighed dramatically. So tonight, I want to be truthful not just to myself but to everyone. I'm no longer in love with my wife. Gasps filled the room. The crowd froze. Clara's heart stopped. Michael didn't stop there. Clara deserves someone who truly loves her, someone who can give her what she wants. And as for me... He turned toward the crowd, and that's when Clara saw her, a tall woman in a red dress, standing confidently with a smug smile. Michael smiled back at her and said, I've already found that person. Her name is Sandra Blake. The ballroom erupted in whispers. Reporters snapped pictures. Some guests looked away embarrassed. Clara sat frozen, her fingers gripping the edge of the table, her face pale. It felt like the ground had been pulled from beneath her feet. Michael walked toward Sandra, took her hand, and kissed it. Sandra has shown me what real happiness feels like, he said proudly. From today, I choose her. The crowd murmured. Some gasped, some pitied Clara, and some watched eagerly, hungry for drama. But through the humiliation, through the burning shame, Clara didn't shed a single tear. She simply stood, her expression calm and unreadable. She walked toward the stage, her silver gown glimmering under the lights. Each step was deliberate, echoing across the silent ballroom. Michael's smile faltered. Clara, this isn't the time. Oh, it's exactly the time, she interrupted calmly, her voice steady and clear. She turned to the guests and smiled politely. Ladies and gentlemen, what a beautiful speech, don't you think? Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Clara looked at Michael, her gaze sharp as glass. You're right about one thing, darling, we shouldn't pretend anymore. Michael frowned. Clara, please, not here. She raised a hand. No, let's not stop the honesty now. After all, it's our anniversary. The perfect time for the truth. She walked to the podium, picked up the microphone, and faced the audience. My husband just told you he's leaving me for another woman. I suppose congratulations are in order. But before we pop more champagne, there's something I'd like to clarify. She turned to Michael, her voice cool as ice. You see, Michael here has been the public face of Benson Innovations. The charming CEO, the business genius, the man everyone praises. But what most people don't know is, he's not the owner. The room fell silent again. Michael's eyes widened. "Clara, don't start." "Oh, I will," she said firmly. 7 years ago, when we started this company, Michael insisted I handle the paperwork while he focused on creative work. He signed everything to me. Every patent, every property, every share, all under my name. Gasps spread through the crowd like wildfire. Michael's voice cracked. "You're lying." Clara smiled faintly. "Am I? You can ask our legal advisor, Mr. Franklin." She pointed to an older man in the crowd who looked incredibly uncomfortable. He handled the documents himself. Mr. Franklin cleared his throat. "It's true. The company's assets are legally owned by Mrs. Benson." Sandra's face went pale. Michael froze. Clara leaned closer, her voice low but deadly. "So yes, my dear husband, you can have Sandra. You can start your new life with her. But everything you built, all the fame, the company, the empire, it belongs to me." The audience began whispering, phones recording every second. Michael's confident posture collapsed. He stared at Clara like she was a stranger. Clara straightened her shoulders and looked at the crowd. "Thank you all for coming tonight. I think that concludes the celebration." She placed the microphone down gently, picked up her clutch, and walked out, her silver gown sweeping behind her like a queen leaving her throne. Outside, the air was cool and silent. She took a deep breath, her heart still racing but her face calm. Her driver opened the car door. As she stepped in, she whispered to herself, "He thought I was powerless. But tonight, he learned who really held the crown." And with that, Clara Benson disappeared into the night, leaving behind a stunned husband, a shattered mistress, and a story that would soon make headlines across the city. The next morning, the whole city was talking about what had happened at the anniversary party. Social media was on fire. Headlines read, "Billionaire husband humiliated by wife who owns his company." Clara Benson outsmarts husband in stunning public twist. Clara sat quietly in her penthouse, sipping a cup of black coffee as she scrolled through the endless stream of news articles. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Friends calling, reporters begging for interviews, lawyers offering to represent her. She ignored them all. She wasn't doing this for fame or pity. She didn't want revenge just for the sake of revenge. She wanted justice. When Michael had first started the company, they were inseparable. They'd worked side by side every day, dreaming big, sacrificing sleep, eating instant noodles while writing code and making designs. Clara was the mind behind the business strategies, the investor relations, the financial growth. Michael was the face, the charming talker who wowed clients and media. But over the years, something changed. Fame had gotten to his head. He started taking credit for everything, treating Clara like an employee instead of his wife and partner. And when Sandra entered the picture, things got worse. Clara could feel her marriage slipping away, but she had still hoped he'd come back to her. Until last night. That public humiliation had turned her pain into something sharper, a cold, burning determination. She stared out the window at the city skyline. "He wanted to embarrass me," she whispered to herself. "Now, let's see how he handles true humiliation." Later that morning, her assistant Naomi arrived with a thick file in hand. Naomi had been with Clara since the beginning, loyal, quiet, and extremely efficient. "Everything you asked for is ready," Naomi said, placing the folder on the glass table. Clara opened it and smiled. Inside were all the documents proving her full ownership of Benson Innovations, shares, patents, assets, everything. "Good," Clara said. "Let's begin." Naomi hesitated. "Are you sure about this, ma'am?" "He's still your husband." Clara's eyes darkened. "He was my husband, Naomi." "Not anymore." Naomi nodded silently. Clara had spent the night planning every step of what would happen next. She wasn't going to destroy Michael's life out of anger. She was going to take back control and make sure he learned what it felt like to lose everything he took for granted. By noon, Michael stormed into the company headquarters like a man on fire. Everyone in the office had seen the news. Whispers followed him wherever he went. He barged into his office, only to find Clara sitting calmly in his chair, flipping through files. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, his voice tight with anger. She looked up slowly. "Good morning, Michael. I work here, remember? Technically, I own the place." He clenched his jaw. "You humiliated me in front of everyone. You planned that." Clara stood up, her calmness cutting deeper than any shout. "No, Michael. You humiliated yourself. I was only standing there when you decided to announce your affair to the world." He groaned, running his hand through his hair. "You think this gives you power over me? I'm the reason this company is successful. I'm the one who built its reputation." Clara stepped closer, lowering her voice. And I'm the one who funded it, registered it, and legally owns it. Without me, this company doesn't exist. Without my signature, you can't move a single cent." He froze. She smiled faintly. "You see, darling, while you were busy chasing attention, I was building protection. You thought I was weak, but I was simply preparing for this moment." Michael's face twisted with frustration. "What do you want, Clara? You already embarrassed me. Isn't that enough?" Clara leaned forward, her eyes cold. "Enough? You think I did this for revenge?" "No, Michael. I did it for balance. You crossed a line you can't come back from. You took my loyalty and turned it into a weapon against me. Now, I'm just taking back what's mine." Over the next few days, the tables turned completely. Michael tried to hold on to control, but Clara made strategic moves that left him powerless. She froze his corporate accounts, canceled his access to the board, and ordered a complete audit of the company's finances. The truth began to surface. Under Michael's management, there had been multiple secret transactions, money quietly funneled into accounts linked to Sandra. Clara didn't even have to dig deep. The evidence was right there, waiting to be found. Her lawyers worked fast. The company's board of directors received a formal notice that Clara Benson was now the acting CEO and primary shareholder. Michael's title was revoked. His access card was deactivated. On the 5th day after the anniversary party, security escorted him out of the building he once proudly called his. It was poetic justice. That evening, Clara sat in the same office chair where Michael had once laughed at her for being too emotional to run a business. Naomi entered quietly. "The press is requesting a statement." Clara nodded. "Prepare one. Make it simple." "What should I say?" Clara thought for a moment before replying. "Tell them that Benson Innovations remains strong and that truth always finds its way to light." Naomi smiled. "That's powerful." "Good," Clara said. "Because I'm done being silent." Later that night, Clara received a call from an unknown number. She hesitated before answering. "Clara," Michael's voice came through, rough and desperate. "Please, can we talk?" Clara's heart tightened, but her tone stayed firm. "What is there to talk about, Michael?" "I made a mistake. I was stupid. Sandra, she left me. She said she can't deal with the bad press. I lost everything, Clara. Please help me." Clara stayed quiet for a long moment. She could hear the regret in his voice, the kind of pain that came too late. Finally, she said softly, "You didn't lose everything, Michael. You gave it all away. I just stopped pretending it was yours." "Clara, please." She cut him off gently. "Do you remember what you said at the party? That you wanted happiness, real love, not pretense." "Yes." "Well," she said, her voice steady, "now you have what you wanted, freedom. Enjoy it." And she ended the call. That night, Clara stood on her balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly before her. For the first time in years, she felt peace, not the kind that comes from revenge, but from clarity. Her power wasn't in what she owned. It was in the strength to walk away without fear. But deep down, she knew this wasn't over. She could feel something bigger brewing. Because when she'd ordered the company audit, she discovered a few transactions that didn't belong to Michael or Sandra. There was a third name. A name that made her blood run cold. It was her father's. The discovery shook Clara to her core. She had been so focused on Michael's betrayal that she never imagined her father could be involved in anything dark, especially not something that touched her company, her creation, her life's work. For days she couldn't sleep. The name on the documents haunted her. Charles Hartman, her father. The man who raised her, taught her strength, and once told her that trust is more valuable than gold. Yet there it was, his signature on several secret financial transfers connected to Michael's hidden accounts. Clara sat in her office late at night, staring at the papers laid out before her. Rain tapped gently against the windows, and the city lights shimmered through the storm. Naomi entered quietly, carrying a mug of tea. "Still awake?" she asked softly. Clara nodded. "I can't stop thinking about it. Why would my father's name appear in these records? He's never been involved in the company's finances." Naomi sat across from her. "Maybe Michael used his name to cover his tracks?" "That's what I thought at first," Clara said, shaking her head. "But look at this. These documents go back before Michael and I even started the company. Some of these accounts were opened almost 10 years ago." Naomi frowned. "That's strange. Do you think your father knew Michael before you married him?" Clara paused. The thought sent a chill through her. "I don't know. But I'm going to find out." The next morning, Clara drove to her parents' house, a quiet mansion on the outskirts of the city. Her father was sitting in the garden, sipping tea and reading the newspaper. He looked calm, as if nothing in the world could disturb his peace. "Dad," she called out. He looked up, smiling warmly. "Clara, my darling. What a surprise. You look tired. Come sit." Clara forced a small smile and sat across from him. "I found something strange, Dad. I need you to tell me the truth." He raised an eyebrow. "The truth about what?" "About Michael. About our company. About you." His expression stiffened slightly, but he quickly masked it with a gentle chuckle. "I don't know what you mean." Clara placed a file on the table and opened it, revealing the documents. "These are records from the company audit. They show several transactions connected to offshore accounts, and your signature is on them." Her father's eyes darkened. He stayed silent for a long time, his hand frozen over his teacup. "Dad," Clara said softly, "please? Tell me this isn't what I think it is." Finally, he exhaled slowly and set the cup down. "I was hoping you'd never have to find out," he said. "But I suppose the truth was bound to surface." Clara's heart pounded. "Find out what?" "Michael and we had an agreement long before you married him." Clara froze. "What kind of agreement?" He looked at her, guilt written all over his face. "He came to me years ago before you two started dating. He was ambitious, determined, but broke. He wanted to start a company, but he had no investors. I saw potential in him. I agreed to fund his first project on one condition: he would marry you." Clara's mouth fell open. "What?" Her father continued, his voice heavy. "You were always strong, Clara. Independent. I wanted someone who could match your fire, someone who wouldn't let you get hurt in this cruel world. But Michael wanted power, not love. So I told him that if he married you, I would give him the capital he needed to start his dream." She stared at him, disbelief twisting in her chest. "You mean, my marriage was a business deal?" "I thought he would fall in love with you genuinely," her father said quickly. "And at first I believe he did. But somewhere along the way, greed consumed him." Clara stood up, pacing back and forth. Her hands trembled. "You used me, Dad. You sold me like a business asset." Her father rose too, his voice desperate. "I did it for your future. For your protection. You have no idea how ruthless this world can be. I wanted to make sure you were safe, powerful, untouchable." "Safe?" Clara's voice cracked. "You call this safety? My husband humiliated me in public. My life became a scandal. And now I find out it all started because of you?" Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Her father's face softened. "Clara, I never meant to hurt you. Everything I did was to build something for you. The company, your success, it's all yours now. Can't you see? You've won." Clara shook her head. "No, Dad. This isn't a win. It's a lie built on betrayal." She turned to leave, but her father's voice stopped her. "Be careful, Clara," he warned. "There's more to this than you know. Michael wasn't acting alone." She turned slowly. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. "There's someone else behind all this, someone who's been pulling strings since the beginning. You need to find out who." Clara frowned. "Who, Dad? Who else is involved?" But he didn't answer. He just looked away, his eyes filled with regret. Later that evening, Clara sat in her car, staring blankly at the road ahead. Her father's confession replayed in her mind like a broken record. All those years of love, trust, and sacrifice, reduced to a transaction. Her chest ached. "How could they?" she whispered to herself. Naomi called. "Ma'am, we just got another alert from the audit team. You might want to see this." Clara drove straight to the office. Naomi met her at the door, holding another folder. "These are more hidden transactions," Naomi said. "But this time they're not connected to Michael or your father. They're connected to Sandra." Clara frowned. "Sandra? She already left the city." "Yes, but the accounts she was using, guess who was funding them?" Clara opened the folder and her breath caught. Each payment to Sandra's account was linked to a single name: Charles Hartman, her father. For a moment, the world went silent. Her mind raced. Why would my father send money to her? Naomi's voice shook. Maybe Sandra wasn't just Michael's affair. Maybe she was part of your father's plan. Clara staggered back, the room spinning around her. Pieces began falling into place. Michael's sudden confidence, Sandra's presence at every major business event, her father's hidden connections. It wasn't just betrayal. It was manipulation. She whispered almost to herself, "This wasn't an accident. None of it. They used me to build everything, and now they want to take it from me." Naomi looked at her worried. "What will you do now?" Clara looked up, her eyes burning with determination. I'm going to uncover everything. Every secret, every lie. They thought I'd crumble, but they don't know who they're dealing with. She grabbed her coat, her voice low and cold. It's time they remember I don't break. I rebuild. As Clara walked out of the office, thunder rolled in the distance, and the first drops of rain began to fall again. But this time she didn't feel small or broken. She felt powerful. Because now she had something stronger than revenge, the truth. And she was ready to use it. For the next few days, Clara barely slept. She spent every waking moment piecing together the puzzle her father and Michael had tried so hard to hide. Each document she uncovered revealed more corruption, fake accounts, secret meetings, and even business deals signed under her name without her consent. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was theft. The more she dug, the clearer it became. Her father and Michael had been working together for years, using her as the perfect cover to hide their dirty dealings. But what Clara didn't understand was why. Until she found one final document. Buried deep in the old company archives was a partnership agreement signed before Benson Innovations was even registered. It was between Charles Hartman, her father, and Sandra Blake. Clara's blood ran cold. Sandra wasn't just Michael's mistress. She was a business plant, an insider sent by her father from the very beginning. Her father had orchestrated everything, her marriage, her company, even her humiliation. He had never wanted to protect her. He had wanted to control her. 2 nights later, Clara decided it was time to end it. She invited both Michael and her father to the same place, the ballroom where her marriage had fallen apart. The same room where everything began. She rented it quietly, keeping the event private. No reporters, no guests, no cameras. Just the 3 of them and the truth that needed to be exposed. When they arrived, Michael looked nervous and worn out. His confidence was gone. His eyes had dark circles, his once polished suit now slightly wrinkled. Her father, on the other hand, looked calm and collected as if nothing could touch him. "Why did you call us here, Clara?" Charles asked, his tone sharp. Clara stood at the center of the room, her silver heels echoing against the marble floor. "Because it's time to finish what you both started." Michael shifted uncomfortably. "Clara, please, can we just talk this out privately?" She smiled coldly. "Privately? You both built your lies in private. Tonight, we face them in the open." She dropped a stack of files on the table in front of them. "These are all the financial records connecting both of you. Offshore accounts, fake signatures, hidden transactions, every single one tied to your names." Her father didn't flinch. "So you found out. And what then? You think you can ruin me, Clara? I built your world." Clara stepped closer, her voice steady but cutting. "No, father. You built a cage and called it love. You turned my life into a business deal. You made me marry a man who never loved me just so you could keep your empire under control." Michael tried to interrupt. "Clara, it wasn't like that." She turned sharply to him. "Don't you dare lie to me, Michael. You knew from the start. You played your role perfectly, didn't you? Pretending to love me while pocketing my father's money?" Michael looked down, shame washing over his face. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," he muttered. "At first I actually did love you. But your father offered me power, something I couldn't refuse." Clara shook her head slowly. "You traded love for greed. And look at you now, empty." Her father slammed his cane against the floor. "Enough. You have no idea what I've done for you. Every decision I made was to make you strong." Clara's voice rose, filled with years of buried pain. "No, you made me broken. You took away my choices, my trust, my happiness, all because you wanted control." The room fell silent. Only the sound of thunder outside filled the air. Clara walked toward the table and picked up a document. "Do you know what this is?" "It's a transfer agreement. I've decided to sell the company." Michael's eyes widened. "What? You can't." "Oh, I can," she said firmly. "And the best part? The proceeds will go to charity, funds for women who were betrayed, controlled, and silenced by powerful men." Her father's jaw tightened. "You're out of your mind." "No," Clara replied calmly. "For the first time in my life, I'm completely sane." She slid a second document toward them. "And before I sign, I wanted you both to see what real power looks like. It's not money, not control, not manipulation. It's freedom." Michael's voice cracked. "Clara, please, I lost everything. Don't do this." Clara looked at him, really looked at him. For the first time, she didn't feel anger. She felt pity. "You lost everything because you built your life on lies. I'm just giving you a chance to start over with nothing but the truth." Then she turned to her father. "As for you, Dad, I forgive you. But I'll never forget what you did." His eyes softened for a brief second, perhaps realizing that in his quest to control her, he'd lost her forever. Without another word, Clara picked up the pen and signed the final document. Her hand trembled slightly, not from fear, but from release. The company that once symbolized her pain now symbolized her freedom. She handed the papers to Naomi, who had been silently watching from the back of the room. "Send it to the legal department first thing in the morning," Clara said. Naomi nodded, her eyes misty. "Yes, ma'am." Clara took one last look at Michael and her father. "Goodbye," she said simply and walked away. Neither of them tried to stop her. Outside, the rain had stopped. The night was quiet, the city lights reflecting softly on the wet pavement. Clara stood under the glow of a street lamp, taking a deep breath. For the first time in years, she felt weightless, no longer tied to lies, greed, or betrayal. She smiled faintly. "It's finally over," she whispered. Naomi joined her, holding an umbrella. "So, what now?" Clara looked up at the night sky. "Now I live. I build something new, not for revenge, not for control, but for me." She took a step forward, her heels clicking confidently against the ground. "And this time," she said softly, "no one owns my story but me." Weeks later, Clara launched a new foundation, the Phoenix Project, a global initiative to empower women entrepreneurs. It quickly became more successful than her old company ever was. While Michael disappeared from the public eye and her father retired quietly from business, Clara's name became a symbol of resilience. People didn't just see her as the woman who outsmarted her husband, they saw her as the woman who rose from the ashes of betrayal stronger than ever. And every time someone asked her how she found the courage to forgive and move forward, she would smile and say, "Sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself." If you were Clara, would you have forgiven them or destroyed them completely? Do you believe betrayal should be punished, or do you believe walking away in peace is the greatest revenge? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful story like this one. Because sometimes, the quietest revenge is success.